Call this meeting of the Atwater City Council to order. February 24th, 2020. Pledge of Allegiance and invocation tonight. Pledge of Allegiance will be by Gary Frago, former council member, and invocation by Poppy. Are you here? There you are. Okay. So please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing. Come up here.
Assume the position of prayer, whatever that is for you. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for today. We thank you that we could come together in the city of Atwater, that we could lift up your name, Lord God, and invoke your wisdom in this meeting tonight. We thank you for the matters at hand, that, Lord, your wisdom would satisfy and bring solutions to each of the matters. We thank you for the opportunity to honor tonight those in our Black community, Lord, and we thank you for that. We ask that, Father, you would impart in our hearts just a willingness to love one another, love our neighbors at all times, and we thank you for all of those things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Roll call.
Ambrose?
Here.
Kale?
Here.
Raymond?
Here.
Vieira?
Here.
Creighton?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Subsequent need items.
Mayor, there are none.
Approval of agenda as posted or amended.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as posted.
Second.
Motion by Vieira, second by Ambrose.
Vieira?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so tonight we have a real special ceremony. Tonight we're going to be recognizing a couple of special individuals here in the city of Atwater. I've selected two individuals that I look up to and have known for several years and watched their service to the community without them even knowing I was watching and learning. It's real special to be able to be the mayor and pick a couple of people that I look up to and I admire and respect for what they've done to the community and not only Atwater but Merced County, and I'm sure all over the world. Both of you have been in the military and reached thousands and thousands of people. So I'm going to come down there and I'm going to call you both up, and I want you guys to understand that this is a real special moment for me to recognize both of you for what you've done, and the room's packed tonight because of you too. So Luther Evans and Chief Spites. Yeah. Great. Thank you guys so much for coming in tonight. I've got a few things written down because I tend to go off script, so I better stay here. For those of you who don't know, today is a recognition for the city of Atwater for Black History Month. This all began because it's a 2020 marks the 150th anniversary of the 15th Amendment of 1870, which gave the right to black men to vote following the Civil War. It also marks the centennial of the 19th Amendment and culmination of the women's suffrage movement. Also known as African American History Month, the event grew out of a Negro History Week, the brainchild of noted historian Carter G. Woodson and other prominent African Americans. Since 1976, every single United States president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. And in the city of Atwater, I'm not sure if we've ever done it before. I couldn't get an answer on that. But being the mayor and this council, I was pleasantly surprised that we're going to do that. We haven't done it since I've been on the council. I've been up here 3 years. And this is real special to me because I get to pick both of you gentlemen. Adolphus, Chief, over here to my right, retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant, spent 30 years in the Air Force, retired at Castle Air Force Base, lives in the community with his wife Nancy since 1982 here in Merced County. He has 2 children, 5 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. He's worn many hats in the community, such as Juvenile Institution Officer for the Merced County Probation Department and Campus Safety Liaison for the Merced Union High School District. He's a member of the Board of the Directors for the Lifeline Community Development Corporation of Merced County, Sergeant at Arms of the American Legion Post 668, Blico, California, a member of the Merced Young Patriot Challenge Contest Committee. I think you run that committee. I tell you, I hear you on the radio every year. You do a great job with that, and I follow that every year also. Additionally, youth teacher and Sunday school superintendent and a deacon in his church. So that's just a few things that we've officially got down, but I guarantee you he keeps the things running around here. And the guys from the 93rd OMS, raise your hand, they're here today. The whole back right there, those are your guys. Yeah. So, and then also the YMI and the 93rd OMS, there's a lot of guys that cross over in both of them, but why don't you say a quick few words, and I'll recognize Luther next.
So, Black History Month, special time. Most of the time when you hear about Black history, of course, you think about all the traditional people that you come to know. You know, Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Martin Luther King, Mary McLeod Bethune, you know, Harriet Tubman, and so forth, okay? But for me, I started thinking about a little closer to home. People who raised me and shaped me and guided me, right? And all of those folks, as I've told people before, had in common that they followed Christ. And that's what they led me to do. So, though it's an honor to be here, I would not be here would it not for my upbringing with Christ and God lifting me and walking with me through everything I've been through in this life. And as the mayor pointed out, when I look, when I look at these back rows and I see these faces of people that I work with, people dragging themselves off the flight line, people dragging themselves out of shops at 10, 12 o'clock at night, 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning when most of you were in bed, right? In the military, out on that base that I was fortunate enough to retire from. My heart is full. Thank you guys for coming. And thank you guys for being there for me.
If that man doesn't inspire you, nobody will inspire you. What a leader. What a true leader. American leader right there. Next gentleman, Luther Evans. Mr. Evans was 49 years field experience in all phases of dog training and protection services with emphasis on law enforcement and canine handlers development. He first began in 1958 as a military police sentry dog handler, canine, for the U.S. Army Fort Knox, Fort Carson, and Fort Campbell. He's worked with various law enforcement throughout the state, such as San Francisco Special Police, Lee Special Police Services of San Francisco, Carson Valley Kennels, and Dog Evolution, Evans Private Security Inc., Canine, and Department DLA, Department of Defense Explosive Narcotics Dog Handler, which you currently still do, right? No, okay. All right. So he kept our port safe. He'd be up at the Oakland port and other things, and making sure that nobody was importing anything dangerous into this country. So you played at National Road not that long ago, few years ago. He's also a member of the YMI Institute, Young Men's Institute of the Catholic Church here in town. And there's a lot of members. Raise your hand if you belong to the YMI. So the group over here on my left, your right, is the YMI members. And you've been a long-time member of the Young Men's Institute, but you got a little more gray hair than I got. Also, the National Association of Canine Scent Dog Work and Post Canine Handler Evaluationer. I met Luther when I joined the YMI, and I kind of knew Luther before that over at the city of Livingston. And I watched him come into this county and foster these guys. Where's our dog handler at tonight? Where's Sergeant at? I watched what you did with the guys and how much free time and how much you gave for free to this county, this city, and other cities around us. And it inspired me, and then your leadership in the YMI, watching you through the years. This man is a gentleman, but he means what he says. A great leader, follows through on everything, and he motivates people by example, and that's very, very important. So I present to you guys Mr. Luther Evans.
Well, I guess you all know my life history right now there, huh? Yeah. But anyway, I came here to Atwater in 1980, and my wife decided to come over here and see if we wanted to live here. Of course, my two kids didn't want to move here, but we met a couple of real estate people, Sharon Magalati and Joyce, and they showed us a few homes, and a good friend of ours did live here, which was Paul Fedetta. And rest his soul, so he's passed on. And he wanted to show us how the other side of the world was other than the Bay Area. So, and you know, so far it's been really, really great here. I've been very fortunate to be here. I see a couple of chiefs in here now I have worked under with their K9. And I also see another chief here now that fortunately had me working with him on 2 departments. But I am very happy to be here, and thanks to my wife, the big inspiration over there, Emily. She keeps me going. Although she complains about the dogs, but she's happy, and I'm very happy to be a member of here at Atwater in my city of Atwater, California. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
No, I don't want the floor. You know, when you start running your mouth, as sometimes you do, right? And you start looking at a whole bunch of people, right? You forget things, right? Grandson, stand up. This is my grandson, right? I'm looking for big things from him, right? All he has to do is follow that same God that brought me through.
So the city council could come down and join us. I'd like to present you guys both with an award. So we're going to present an award, then right after the award, we're going to step back and let you guys, the family members and longtime friends and co-workers come up and take pictures. So don't anybody rush off. I want you guys to stick around. And then after that, we'll have a little short intermission so you guys can meet these wonderful people and our leaders of our community and get to know them like I get to know them. So first, I'd like to present Luther Evans with a resolution. Whereas Mr. Luther Evans has 49 years in the field experience of all phases of dog training and protection services. Whereas law enforcement and canine handler development. Whereas from 1958 through 1963, he was a military police dog sentry handler in the U.S. Army Fort Knox. So on and so forth. As we went over already, I believe, I probably preempted that. So not to be redundant, here's a resolution on behalf of the City of Atwater, the City Council, to Mr. Luther Evans. Thank you, man. Thank you. And Chief, I can't stop calling you Chief because that's just, I've always learned to call you that. So Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force. I'm an ex-Air Force, and I look up to you and respect you. Also, as we spoke earlier, whereas the United States Air Force Chief Master Sergeant Adolphus Spites Jr. and his wife Nancy have lived in Winton, California since 1982. He has 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. And we have covered everything else before. So I would love to present you this resolution from the City of Atwater, the City of Council, to Chief. Thank you very much. You didn't know it. Neither one of these 2 guys knew I was stealing some mentorship from them. But I got to work with both of them. The chief went out. I'm going to tell a quick story about both of them. Chief was out there at the Veterans Pavilion. God, how long ago was it, Harry? 3 years ago? 2 years ago. And I got called out, hey, can you come look at this pavilion kitchen? We need to do something to it. And Harry started a bunch of stuff with Tim and Tom and all the other guys. And I showed up Saturday, I think, is when we got the ball rolling. He took the whole wall out by himself. About 3 hours. He had a little hammer and a couple other things. I said, well, I'm going to go get some tools. I'll be back. Came back. The whole wall was taken down by himself. So then that got all of us motivated. We didn't quit that day until about 7 p.m. We kept working because he jump-started us. So without him, we wouldn't have that great facility out there. And these guys in the back row that stood up and worked their tails off for you guys. It was awesome. And then Luther, you know, the YMI chicken dinners and all the YMI functions. And Luther Evans also the grand president of the YMI for the Western United States. That's a big duty, and he represented Atwater and the local Catholic Church for that, which St. Anthony's is forever indebted to you because you made us look really good. So I thank you for all you've done and all the hard work. And those meals that we raised about $10,000, Gary, every meal. That's a big fundraiser for us. We give back to scholarships. My kids got scholarships there. A lot of these parents in the audience, some of their kids got scholarships too. So your leadership, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mayor.
So either one, you want to say another word before we turn it over to your families?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. So at this time, we're going to do a recess. Families and friends come up, take pictures with these guys. We're going to step out of the way and turn this over to these 2 gentlemen. We have water and cookies for refreshments. So we're going to take about a 15-minute break. We'll re-adjourn the Atwater City Council meeting of February 24th, 2020. Presentations, Smart Start Driving Education for Teens and Their Parents. CHP Officer Eric. How do you say your last name, Zuniga?
Yep, got it right.
I've
Good
heard it,
evening,
but I heard
everyone.
it enough, I should be able to pronounce it right.
Good evening. My name is Officer Eric Zuniga with the CHP. Just a little bit about myself. I've been with the CHP for 10 years. I've been the Public Information Officer for the Merced Air Office for 3 years now. So one of the part of my things that I do as part of being a Public Information Officer is also safeties, traffic safety education. One thing that we have here is called Start Smart. It's a class presented to 14 to 19-year-olds. It's a free class. We've been doing it at the CHP office for the past 3 years since I've been a PIO. But we usually get about 10, 15 kids the most. And we feel like we're impacting people out there, but I don't think we're impacting to the scale that we want, like say going into a high school. So Nereida here, we actually had a pretty good relationship with her company, Farmers, and then us. She actually had a pretty good idea of trying to go to Atwater High and presenting the class to them, which is, I think it's going to be awesome. I like to present it to all the Merced high schools in the county, not just Merced City, but Merced County, because I feel that is very, very important. I know when I went to school, to high school, we had driver's education as a requirement. They don't have that anymore. High schools don't have that anymore. They're saying it's budget cuts and stuff like that, which is, I understand. But I think that's very important. Kids of the age 14 to 19 are being killed by traffic collisions more than any other, anything you can think about. Suicide, all that stuff. Traffic collisions, it's what impacting that age group. But yet we don't talk about it enough. And so Start Smart, it's an hour-and-a-half class that we have, and it's basically, it's a new program that they just did. It's about a year old. California Patrol with the Office of Traffic Safety did a video, and it's basically based on 6 teenagers, 5 who passed away, all because, a driver was being reckless and careless, and ended up killing 5 kids. So it's a pretty good storyline, and I think it will impact parents and teenagers to kind of see the reality of what driving is. I always tell kids that's the most dangerous thing you will ever do if you sit here and think about it. Not everybody goes to war or flies a plane and stuff like that, but everybody gets in a vehicle, and it's we take it for granted because we're used to just jumping in that car and just traveling, but it's driving the vehicle is very, very dangerous. And if you don't know how to do it the safe way, you can cause either killing yourself or killing somebody else. Recently, we've had a rash of people not wearing a seatbelt, and that's actually what's caused a lot of fatalities lately. We just had one recently, which was really sad because I truly believe that she would have had a seatbelt. She would have survived that collision, but because she did not have a seatbelt, she was ejected and died. So just little things like that we talk about, how that's 2 seconds of putting the seatbelt can really impact their life. So Nereida's here kind of to talk to you guys a little bit of why she kind of approached me and why she wants us to kind of focus on bringing this program to the high schools.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nereida Jantz, and I am the Secretary of the Atwater Chamber of Commerce, and I am here to talk to you as a parent. So I know that we have worked extremely hard in getting the word out to what I call home, which is here. So I really want to thank, City Councilman, our City Manager, our Chief of Police. I am so happy and so blessed to see how the community has come together, you know, for something so valuable like this. Now, we all know that as parents, the need is definitely there. We have a daughter that's 23, another one that's 18, and I cannot imagine my life with either one of them. So again, I invite you to sit down, come out to Atwater High. It's gonna be on February 29th, and it's gonna be at the new gym at 10 o'clock in the morning. And please come out, join me. I've never sat, you know, in this program yet, but as parents, you know, I would love, you know, to see as many of us out there. And the goal is to, wherever home is to us, let's get this out there in that community. And again, thank you. I cannot thank you enough for the support that you have seriously, you know, brought to us. I mean, our board, as far as, you know, the chamber, I mean, we've worked extremely hard, you know, and again, thank you.
Okay, so again, that's going to be this Saturday at the Atwater High School. It's the Start Smart Driving Education for Teens and Their Parents.
It's gonna be at the new gym.
To summarize what they both just said, as the CHP officer reminded us, the kids have to seek outside education for driver's training, and it goes through private companies to get their education. When we were in school, we sat through the every 60 minutes and the other things that we saw the dark side of driving also, and we had to ride in the car with other kids that didn't know how to drive, which scared the heck out of me. So I can appreciate how important it is for people to know how to drive right. You know, I grew up on a farm, and I had a brother that raced cars, so I got a lot of experience, and I got in the car with another student at the school, and he never even been behind a wheel before. And it was the most hairy 45 minutes of my life. So this is really good that you educate. You guys are going above and beyond. The California Highway Patrol, Chief Salvador worked with us. You guys have done the outreach. We've got a hold of the superintendent of the high school district.
I was going to tell you, we were actually invited to go out to the Merced Union High School District Board. And so again, you know, we invited, you know, everybody to, you know, to come out and join us, you know. And then I also want to say, Atwater High School has done a tremendous, I mean, what they're doing, you know, as far as getting this out to the students, it's unbelievable.
It's reaching them.
Mr. Nunes, I mean, he's been working so hard with his staff, and that is something that I really want to make sure that everybody is aware, because let's give, you know, let's be appreciative to where, you know, it's supposed to go. And Mr. Nunes has been working on this nonstop.
And his goal is that every kid learns, and we don't lose any more kids because of careless driving or texting or doing what kids do behind the wheel. Like you said, Eric, it's the most dangerous thing these kids are going to do in their young adult life. So I'm excited. Sounds like a big turnout. You guys have a full house, right?
Yep, hopefully.
So
The last count that we had, it's about 300 people. That's kids and parents. That's been like 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
So, but we're still pushing it. We're
still gonna push it. We're still pushing it. And like I said, if you can't make it on the 29th, we have one March 7th if you had called.
What time the 29th?
10 o'clock in the
10
morning.
a.m.
Yeah, they're
10
both
a.m.
at-
to 12?
Yes, they're both at 10 to 12.
Okay.
Both the Atwater one and the Buhack one.
Okay. Council, you guys have any questions?
It's at Atwater High School in the old gym, new
In the
gym?
new
New gym, okay.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Buhack's gonna be the theater.
And you hacking the theater, that's March 11th, or 7th?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great.
Awesome. And we already shared that on our website, in our Facebook
Yes.
page?
You guys have done
So,
a tremendous
yes.
job
Yes, thank
again.
you.
We
Thank you,
wouldn't be
Chief.
able to
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, thanks.
see you Saturday.
Thank you for the information, and we're excited about Saturday. So that's a partnership with the California Highway Patrol, City of Atwater, Atwater PD, and the Chamber of Commerce. Good teamwork. Project status in of paving in Atwater for the Atwater Highway 99 reconstruction project. Michael Cook and Anton Kismitten. Okay.
Thank you.
And you're both with the Department of Caltrans District 10,
District 10 and Central Region. I'm in Fresno. But
Stockton and Fresno?
Stockton, Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's hear what's going on. The people are excited. There's a big project coming to
There is a
Atwater.
big project. And again, I'm Mike Cook, and this is Anton Kismetjian. I'm always 4 years, I still can't say your name.
Just say Anton.
He's the brains behind the outfit. Just call him, he's the brains behind the outfit. Yeah, we're here to, thank you for having us to update you on our 99 project. It's a rehabilitation project. It's from 0.4 miles south of Buhak Overcrossing to 0.8 of a mile north of the West Atwater Overcrossing, a distance of a little more than 4 miles. Doesn't work.
Where's Glenn?
I'll switch it for you.
Okay. We'll get it figured out.
I'll do it for you if you want me to.
Like I said, he's the brains behind the outfit.
Boy, we're in store for something, huh?
Yeah.
We could go.
Next.
And this is just a general map, our title sheet that we have with the project plans. You might not be able to see all the little bits and pieces, but essentially where the Atwater Merced Expressway had tied off near the Buhak Road overcrossing on the south end, which we call Post Mile 20, about 4 miles north of that, just outside of the city of Atwater, where the West Side Bellevue Interchange project ended, where the 6-lane section is there. That's where the road pavement rehab project
So
is.
basically
through
the
there.
old Buhak overcrossing to Dole.
Yes, right
Okay.
in that area. But
That's 4 point,
it'll include, it's about 4 point something miles, and in addition, there's 8 ramps that are also being part of,
8 on and off ramps and storm basins.
4 on and off ramps, 4 on and off ramps in the northbound, 4 on and off ramps in the southbound. The Applegate interchange 4 ramps, and the 2 pair of Atwater Boulevard ramps on both ends, in the south and north. This is just a picture, just to give you an idea of the payment. Some of that payment's been there since 1957, 1956. Our maintenance folks out of Merced stay on a constant basis of getting out there to do the repairs. Now it's time for a full rehab.
So you can see from the photograph, the pavement's in pretty bad shape. It's exceeded its design life. So our project will come in and reconstruct the main line of the traveled way and outside shoulder with continuous reinforced concrete pavement. That'll give us a long design life with low maintenance and a smoother ride. This lane miles are 16.5 lane miles. Remember, the project's just a little over 4 miles long. We have 2 lanes in the north direction, 2 lanes in the south direction. So we have 16.5 lane miles of work of continuously reinforced concrete pavement. We'll construct the inside shoulders with hot mix asphalt. The ramps are reconstructed with hot mix asphalt or and a combination of continuous reinforced concrete pavement. The blend there is to help reduce closure times for ramps, and we'll get into that a little bit in the future slides. And then the metal beam guardrail in the median and the oleanders will be removed. The median will be paved with hot mix asphalt, and a new concrete barrier will be installed in the center median.
This is just to give you a depiction at pretty much where Applegate would be, and it should be 2 cars. I apologize for that. There is still 2 cars being perpetuated in both directions. But essentially what happens is, in that area where the tangent section, the straight section is, where the 2 curves come into and Applegate interchange area, that area, the drivers would be essentially whoever's in the number 1 lane or the inside lane would be shifted about 12 feet towards the median, where the thri-beam and all that would be removed. This is a lot of detail, but we're just trying to give you so that at least you get an idea that there is a little bit of change out there. With a concrete barrier in the median, and then at Applegate interchange, the acceleration and deceleration lanes will be added to the project. So it is an improvement at the Applegate ramps. Let me go on from there. In addition to that, we will be lowering the profile underneath Applegate so that no more
Excavators.
yes, thank you. It'll be at least 16.5 feet standard, which pretty much will pass
So that's about 1.5 feet lower.
1.5 feet lower. It's a little bit more on that side. Yes, very close to 1.5 feet right there on the northbound side. And that is taken at the worst case, lowest point. With that, in addition, at Applegate, we're also gonna add the aux lanes. We're gonna improve a slight ramp geometry modifications here and there at the southbound off-ramp and the northbound ramps. We're also gonna upgrade the guardrails, concrete barriers, and those things to current MASH testing.
So there, you'll increase the deceleration lane over behind Tractor Supply, additional 600 feet is what?
We are in the southbound off-ramp for Applegate.
Yes.
Right now, there is no deceleration lane per se. It's done on the facility or in the shoulder, depending who's driving. Now there'll be a ramp that'll be produced in which it's 1,000 feet total
Okay.
length and a 250 taper. So it's quite a bit difference. Likewise, the acceleration that's there now today will be perpetuating that for the on-ramp in the southbound as well as the northbound on-ramp.
Wow,
So nothing's taken away, just two added for the deceleration lanes.
excellent.
This is just to give you an overall picture. We're also, you can imagine when you pave the median and the oleanders go, there's a drainage compensation. Instead of coming here, buying strips of right-of-way 10 feet, 20 feet among 100 parcels, we went through the process of locating parcels and identifying larger basins. We worked with the city to make sure that we were trying to do a cooperative basin. It didn't quite work out because of MID's, the way they operate and we operate. So we ended up identifying 5 separate parcels. One of them we already owned by, it's Mr. Steve Hooker's property right there at the south end where Atwater City Expressway curves right there. Then a couple of tier shape at the southern end after you pass the overhead, and again right before you get to the next overhead. Then the old abandoned gas station property, the small little
By
piece.
Panda.
By Panda. And then also, as you're passing, just inside or just outside of city limits before the MID canal, we're another basin right there. Obviously, there's going to be a time period, so construction should start this spring, pending weather issues. If we get a heavy string, they could suspend it, but it should start this year, and it should be completed by end of 2022.
Okay.
Right in that time period. It is a long period because it is a complicated project, because we're still trying to perpetuate 2 lanes in each direction. So it has to be done in stages. Stage 1 will begin where at night closures, mostly you won't see it during the day, but it'll be night closures at nighttime where they come in and beef up the outside shoulder to allow a traffic shift with stage 2. And then in stage 2, you start to remove part of the oleanders and pave the center median. Stage 3, likewise, there's pieces that have to be done. And then in stage 4, the real work begins with the southbound sections being removed and replaced. Some of the pavement is fully replaced. Some of the pavement is overlaid with CRCP long life pavement. So hopefully we won't have to touch it again for a long time. With that comes impacts, and sometimes we did work with the city very closely to ensure that the detours are viable, as well as that we totally minimize the impacts to the businesses in that area, as well as residents and everybody else who uses the ramps in Atwater. And so what we did is we paired them up. When the Applegate southbound ramps are closed, the 2 other ramps for Atwater Boulevard, on-ramp, off-ramps, act as the ramps for Applegate, and there's detours for that. There'll be coordination between PIO and City of Atwater PIO to disseminate that information in a timely manner as the contractor gives us more information on when they're going to build it. And then likewise, what happens is when the the Applegate interchange ramps are open, then the Atwater Boulevard ramps get closed. And then vice versa for the northbound direction, so that no 4 ramps, obviously, no 2 ramps in the same direction are ever closed in that manner, okay? And we did that in a timely manner and coordinated with a lot of people to ensure that we minimize the impacts. With that, we also, you know, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to put it in the hand of the contractor, and the contractor bid on it with penalties if they do go over those times. and we identified disincentives so that they ensure that we do it in a viable time. And we picked a lot of brains to make sure that the date we did give them was realistic to begin with, because that's the worst thing to do, is come in with a time frame and then realize, well, okay, we'll give you another 20 days. So they bid on that, and that's what we're going to stick to, and we're waiting for their more refined schedules.
No, never talked about roles. My role is the project manager. I control the checkbook. If you can't tell, Anton is the design oversight engineer. So he's got the details, his ears to the ground. Project cost with support is $84 million, about $66 million in capital. So it's quite a project, it's quite a heavy set of plans, and it's quite a project. Project's been allocated, so it's been funded. We've advertised the project, bids have opened, and we've actually hired a contractor, Bay Cities Paving and Grading, Inc. So they're actually hired as of December 15th. As Anton mentioned earlier, we'll start construction. Well, actually, the first working day is today, but they've been granted winter suspension. As Anton explained, the first order of work is work on the outside shoulder paving. It's temperature sensitive, and just this week it's warming up. If it stays warm, they might start as early as March, the first week or second week of March. So look at March as the start time. And as Anton also said, there's 525 working days. So we'll be out there through summer, fall of 2022. I know public information, PIO, is very important to you, and our public information officer knows to work with your PIO to give you a heads up. I know you want at least 2 days, and so we'll keep you abreast of schedule closures and things like that. And the resident engineer and I think the contractor also will be handing out flowers and things when the local businesses or people live near the construction site or the ramp closures will be affected. So that's what we got.
And one thing important is we try to develop the schedule, and hopefully the contractor will follow that schedule, is to minimize the impacts on those ramp closures with prime times of that business and those things. So we did take that into consideration in developing our own schedule. By the way, I can't take any credit for the design. I'm only the design oversight. The designer is NCM out of Fresno office. Did a great job, that design consultant, and one of their subs, Jose, and his company did a great job, as well as Reco as the subs to the project. Our oversight team was very active in that role, given the schedule and the time frame we had to deliver the project. But at the end of the day, given the bidder inquiries, I think we're in good shape, and hopefully in 2 years from now, everybody will have a positive aspect out of this project. We do apologize for the next 2 years within the city.
That's okay. I think in the long run, it's going to turn out pretty good.
And I did mention the Applegate, the southbound ramps, the flashing red signal. There is every intent from Caltrans support, as well as commitment, as well as the city's cooperation on that, to have that flashing red, no more flashing. And in operation, we're not exactly sure of the day, but hopefully by 2022 we have that in hand, and that's up and running. There's some coordination, and there's parts that the construction that have to be built with us, and then synchronized and then coordinated. But hopefully by 2022, that's in place.
Great. Council, do you have any questions? No? Thank you guys for coming in. Let us know what's going on. Also, you guys didn't mention, but as you guys are doing the road closures and the on and off ramp switching back and forth, there may be some use of the old Atwater Boulevard, correct? Or
Yes, as part of the detour.
Yeah,
for
and that'd be the nighttime?
Ramp volume, not the main line volume.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the detours we're not planning any full freeway closures. When they do the Applegate, they're not doing the structure work on the Applegate, so there's no false work with that
Okay.
structure. And just to let you know, the overheads are not, there is not major work for replacing the overhead structures. So
Right.
it's not like at the end of the project like Atwater and Westside, or Westside I should say, because Atwater couldn't do it either, where all 3 lanes are going to be open for accessibility. But it does lead the way, and hopefully
That's great.
sooner than later that happens for the community.
Great. Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to consent calendar.
Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. discussion is requested on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Are there any items on the consent calendar the city council would like to remove for separate discussion and possible action? Seeing none. Viera.
4 and 5, please.
Pulling 4 and 5. Any other council members?
Motion to approve the remainder of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Kale.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item 4, call for bids, approving specifications, authorization, advertising, and call for bids for 2 new 2020 Ford Fusion plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Chief Salvador and Councilwoman Vieira.
The only question I had is, I know most of this is paid for by a grant.
Yes, ma'am.
So our portion, is that already budgeted, or will this require a budget amendment?
This will probably require a budget amendment depending on where the cars are deployed. This is a step in a process that gets us to grant approval. So, based on our purchasing guide, I had to come back and get that to get an accurate number to the air district for cost of the car.
Any idea?
The question, is there any impact to the city and this grant is closed?
Well, once the grant, once the contracts are approved where we can access the funding, purchasing again will have to come back for an approval, whether it be a budget amendment approval or factored into next year's budget.
Okay.
So it will go back to council, and council will be identified where the funding is coming from.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. Any other council members?
Motion to approve the item as posted.
I'll second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Vieira.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item 5, awarding cooperative purchase agreement with National Auto Fleet Group for the purchase of 1 new 2020 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle. Chief Salvador and Councilwoman Vieira.
So it was just the same question. Was this something that was already budgeted for, or do we require a budget amendment? It was
Okay,
the same question, really, for the
no,
four
on the
of us.
budget amendment piece, this is currently budgeted in the Measure H budget as fleet replacement. Unfortunately, we had 2 cars wrecked in the last 90 days, and it has made my fleet position even more urgent. With the delays in the lease program getting here and being delivered, there is enough appropriations to make this purchase.
Pleasure, Council.
I'll make a motion to approve number 5.
I'll second.
Motion by Vieira, second by Kale.
Viera,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item 6, reports and presentations from staff, approving contract change order to Taylor Backhoe Service, Inc., general construction contract for Mitchell Avenue reconstruction, and accepting the project. General Services Manager Pareto.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Yes, tonight we're asking for an approval for a change order for a project on Mitchell Avenue. Back in October 18th, 2019, City Council awarded a contract to Taylor Backhoe Service in an amount of $72,000 for 156 for pavement reconstruction from Winton Way to Willow, approximately 343 linear feet. During that process, some work was needing to be done that was not part of the original bid. So tonight's staff is asking for a contract change order number 1 in the form of approved. It was approved by the interim city attorney to Taylor Backhoe Service, general construction contract. Project number is 18-16 or -6, excuse me. Mitchell Avenue reconstruction, an amount of $5,954.62. This particular fiscal item is the original allotted money for this project was $83,000. With this with this change order, it would bring the total up to $78,410.84. And we're welcome to take any questions you may have.
This time I'll open up to members of the public. Any members of the public like to come forward on this item, please walk up to the podium. Seeing no one in the public, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the dais. Any members of the council have any questions? Direction?
I'll make a motion to approve staff's recommendation as presented.
Second.
Motion by Viera, second by Ambrose.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
No.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 7, making the environmental finding, adopting a resolution approving a budget amendment increasing allocations for Veteran Park Water Playground Project, declaring Water Odyssey Water Playground equipment a sole source item, awarding a purchase agreement for the purchase of said equipment to All About Play, and approving plans and specifications and authorizing advertising and call for bids for the project. General Service Manager Peretta.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Yes, today's, on this particular item here, staff was given direction to come up with some ideas along from council and working with a subcommittee, Mayor Creighton and Ms. Vera, to develop a splash pad of sorts for the city of Atwater. This particular splash pad is going to be 60 by 40 in size, to be located at Veterans Park. There's going to be some infrastructure all brought in, and we have some pictures that we can show and some of the map of this particular project. We also have our city engineer here who can talk about some more of the project in detail.
Michael, can you?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Mrs. Waterman and staff, thanks for having me back tonight. I love to be here and talk about projects, and especially this one. It's really cool. Janelle was flipping through, showing a couple of the design features. This is a really cool project for the kids of the city of Atwater. There's some wickets, some sprinklers, some misters, a whole mix of things to entertain the target range of about 2 to 10-year-old kids. It's pretty exciting. I wish they had something like this when I was growing up. But so we got a little bit of direction from council about what we were looking at serving in terms of the target population. We went out and looked at parks that had been built around the area, took some inspiration from that. We scoured all the different manufacturers looking for what would meet the intended design. The cool stick's really cool. You guys see that up there right now? Yeah. And, we identified a manufacturer that met sort of the unique requirements that we were looking for in terms of the features for the kids and the water flow, and put together a design package that we're asking for you to approve tonight in order to go out and purchase, as well as authorize the bidding of the construction documents, the drawings and the specifications. So the water wickets, have we seen all the cool stuff now? Can we get into the really nerdy part? The drawings? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, we didn't get to talk about that. So the touch and go. Some of these things, they're interactive features of the park, right? These are wireless buttons that kids can go out there and mash a button and it turns the feature on. So it's not using water all the time when there isn't somebody there that wants to play with it. And then they get the cause and effect interaction, right, of smashing the button and getting to go out and play in it for a while. So another pretty cool feature. Sorry. Go ahead. No? Okay. Do we have, did you all get a
Go ahead,
handout of the drawings?
Councilman Vera.
Yeah.
So, just a couple things that I want to point out, because everybody up here knows how excited I've been about the splash pad. And I think I've been talking about it for a year or two or three. So I know you've been really working diligently to try to make the timelines. We're we're going to have this up and running for the summertime, for the kids this year. And I think it's going to be a really unique play feature for the kids where it's located. There are several neighborhoods around that are highly populated with young children. These are very safe. You can't drown. There's no standing water. And it brings families and kids out to the parks. I'm very excited to see something like this for the city of Atwater. I've learned a lot about this. I thought, how hard could it be to build a splash pad? You lay some cement, you put in some sprinklers, and I am learning that it is quite more difficult than that. But I also want to mention, so that it's crystal clear, this money is not impacting our general budget. This is money that has been set aside for redevelopment. This is park money. It's not something that can ever touch our general fund. It's been sitting here for years and has not been utilized, so it's simply being wasted. So our kids have nothing to do, and we have the money to provide it. And understand really clear, this money can't be used for anything else. We can't take it and reallocate it and pay down debt. We either use it or we lose it. So given that direction, my idea was, let's provide for the kids. That's what the money was brought here for. Anytime I made any kind of post on any kind of public Facebook or whatever, there was just an outpouring of response from the parents and excitement. And I think over the last few years, you know, we've seen kind of some doom and gloom in the city of Atwater, and things have really started turning around financially. I think the whole feel of our city, and it's just time to, I feel like it's kind of a present to give back to the community. So I'm so excited about this project. But anytime we start spending money, people knowing that we've come from a time of really a really tough financial situation, it kind of gets them nervous. So I just want it to be really, really clear. This does not affect our general funding. This is money that has been sitting there for 5 and 6 years, allocated for things just like this, and it just simply has not been done. So I am really excited, and I know that the council has been so supportive, and Mayor Creighton has been extremely supportive. So I hope this is something that the community grows to appreciate and love as much as I already have. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Any other members of the council?
You know, I got a question, maybe because I didn't quite understand this, but in looking at our paperwork and the quotation, there was a couple of things on here that I'm not sure why the price increased or why there was. Maybe I'm not understanding their quote. One of them was Aqua Arts, the Jetway, and the Baby Long Legs. And the price, it said, was $810, and then the price extended was 3 times that. Why was that?
Well, that is an excellent question, council member, and that is because we are installing more than one of some of these features.
Oh, okay. That
Yes.
makes it even better. So, in other words, possibly 3 of them on each one of those.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that answers my question completely. Thank you.
I think part of, if I may, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I think part of it too that we do want to address is there is a budget amendment tonight to be approved because there is newer regulatory compliance measures that need to be taken into account to recirculate the water system in that design.
Yes, if I may, I'm really sorry we don't have the improvement plans available to show the public, but there's 14 pages that you have in front of you that are construction documents. And with the cooperation with Director Haddix over here, We've identified a couple of parts of the scope of work that will be performed by city forces, including the installation of a new 6-inch sewer line from over by the west side of the park out to where the underground tank and the recirculation skid are to be installed. And they'll also be coordinating for the removal of a couple of really older, poor specimen trees that would overhang this construction and create an environment that we didn't feel was safe. So they'll be coordinating and working closely with us on that. They're just waiting for me to say go, as I've been reminded a couple times. And then you see just north of some of the existing playground equipment is where the site was selected for the splash pad to be installed. This is chosen carefully to coordinate with the existing features of the park as well as the infrastructure. We have 2-inch water pretty close to this, just a little bit to the east, and we have 12-inch sewer just a little bit to the west, sort of right in between, right? The one thing that we didn't have enough of was power. So there's a pretty sizable budget impact because we need to bring in about 200 amps of 3-phase power to run this recirculation equipment that was alluded to by a couple folks up there at the dais. And just to tell you what you're looking at here, the state's regulations now, they require the treatment of these spray parks very similar to a public swimming pool. It's sort of almost a one-size-fits-all because you'd have to have a really big spray park in order to meet the minimum requirements, which include a 4,000-gallon tank that needs to be buried on site and pumping equipment to be able to recirculate that no more than every 30 minutes. So that's 8,000 gallons an hour that has to go through this treatment and recirculation system, even though this park will probably use, maybe 30 gallons a minute. I mean, and that's if everybody's out there just mashing every button we've got, right? So we're stuck with that, whether we like it or not, and it's expensive. The treatment system, to put it in perspective, costs more than that whole playground, the whole playground portion of it that you're looking at.
But there's room to build onto it and add onto it, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of capacity in this recirculation and
Councilman
treatment
Raymond had a
system.
question.
Yes.
He was
I can go on
slowly
forever.
answering them,
Please
so-
feel free to interrupt.
Well, no, you
Just
were,
let
you
him
were
keep
slowly
going.
answering some of them,
Yeah.
so I'll wait till you're done.
Okay. So the recirculation treatment system, there are very specific requirements from the state, including 2 specific chemical crocs that are used in the treatment. A sand filter, it can also be diatomaceous earth, it's typically sand. There's UV disinfection. I mean, this is the really high-end tertiary treatment technology we have out at the wastewater treatment plant. And it's all has to be put in place to meet the water treatment requirements of the state now for this facility. So that's something that they put in place recently that we weren't necessarily anticipating dealing with, but there's no way around it. And then, let's see, we talked about the Public Works building, a portion of that. We talked about the power. There's a shower. So fortunately, restrooms are available in the pavilion building next to that, right next to the kitchen area there. So those are within the required distance for public. What we didn't have was a rinsing shower. So we're going to construct one of those just on the north side of the pavilion building because we've got water and sewer that have sufficient capacity to provide for that. It gets it a little bit away from the splash pad so that, the shower facility isn't right next to the play facility. We don't have any confusion between the kids about what's to play with and what's to clean off with before you get in and out. So we sought to separate that a little bit and minimize the cost by locating it close to existing facilities.
So also you incorporated, this is a fully ADA accessible, so the kids in wheelchairs can still wheel out there and navigate and have fun like the other kids?
Yes, sir, that's right. Yes, it's an accessible park feature. The shower is designed to be accessible as well. So I know that the schedule is very important. We've been working very diligently, as you said, Ms. Vieira, to get this ready to go as quickly as we can, but it doesn't mean that we cut any corners. This is a well-designed, well-thought-out project. We spent a lot of time making sure that this is something that kids will enjoy safely. And the package, the plans and specifications, are well done. I think we're going to get some good tight bids on this and get it built for the best possible price.
Councilman Raymond?
Oh. Make that quick. The city manager. Do we know what the, or an approximate idea of what the ongoing maintenance costs are going to be?
We just had that conversation this afternoon as well. We do not at this point, but we have been speaking with Public Works as far as whether or not our staff will be able to maintain that or what will be needed going forward.
Okay, that's just what I was going to ask as well, is are our guys qualified to do the maintenance? Or do they have to go through some other classes, schooling?
If there's training involved, we will have to make sure that they're trained.
Okay, and then any idea on power costs from some of the other places that have the splash pads?
So if I may.
Sure.
If you got the answers.
So
Yes,
we have one 7.5 and one 3-horse pump motor that would be on this. The total demand for if the system is running at full capacity, the main service panel is 150 amps. So it would be similar to not too different from a backyard pool when it's on the treatment recirculation system. Right, the difference is that it's got to run continuously while the park is in service. To that end, the city already has a 12 kV overbuild at the south end of the park area. It's metered out at Buhack, so we have access to power at a high voltage. We're going to put in a transformer to supply power at 208 and 120 volt in 3-phase, which would be more efficient to operate than single phase. So we're being as responsible with the design as we can.
Perfect. And then maintenance costs going forward are from the general fund, because not this park fund, correct?
Correct. It will not be able to be part of the park fund.
So the system is designed, it essentially backwashes and the filter and does the treatment itself. I don't know specifically about the long-term maintenance, but in terms of the daily maintenance, it's essentially just checking the chemical crocks to make sure that they have an adequate level within them, and then pressing the button and it washes itself down. Debris that's out on the leaves or grass or things like that from time to time will require washing down, but that goes into the drain and treatment system and filter system, and it's sort of just like washing down the patio.
Okay. And then with the chief and the city manager, is there a plan to keep people out of there at night? Because as of right now, you could walk through a little slit in the fence and fall through a hole. But now they'll be, on a splash pad or a shower if they get in.
Well,
So
yeah,
we have to have a plan to control that for liability reasons.
Absolutely, and the Public Works Director and I have talked about the fencing there at Veterans Park, and we've made several repairs as the last couple of months, and we'll continue to watch that and make sure that stays safe. to
But
limit
this
our
is a
liability.
park that is locked at
Yes.
night and unlocked during the day.
Mrs. City, okay. I'll be
No,
good.
direction has been given to enforce that, and we are working actually on gates as well that will assist in making sure that is done on it.
Chris, public comments closed. Council, you have any other questions? So, to recap everything, the locking of the facility after its construction, during construction, PD, city manager, a new access point, I think is what Councilman Raymond was alluding to, with some type of remote control with access, visibility, public works director, about cleaning some of that brush along the Bellevue corridor so that law enforcement can see into the park freely. We need to keep that maintained. And we are excited about this project going forward. Viera?
One question that we didn't, and it just came as Brian was speaking, I think our vision of this is really a seasonal vision. So when the weather heats up, we would every year have a specific date of opening, whether it be spring break and then close down in the fall, maybe when school starts or the weather starts to cool off. Is there requirements when this is out of season and we basically have it shut down for that water? Or once we've shut it down for the year, can we just drain that tank, or what has to happen? Do you know what the requirements are?
You know, I would love to tell you I know the answer to that,
Okay.
but I'm sorry, I don't.
That's okay.
I will look into it and let you know.
Okay, because I was thinking if, once the park is shut and we're not using it for, the next 6 months, then hopefully we wouldn't have maintenance costs. Do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, I think we're gonna copy the other communities. Merced just put one in. It'll be open year round unless it's freezing, and then
Oh.
that pump won't be turned on. They'll have to readjust it, but it'll only be a few weeks, probably a year, only during the freezing time.
Oh,
So if the kids wanna play in the,
okay.
that's up to the director, the Parks and Recs director and the Public Works director, but it's designed to where you can run it other than freeze
get it.
when it gets slippery, but, it'd be open year round,
Okay.
so. If we have
If
a
I
warm
may?
winter, we're good.
If I may, just to dovetail to Mr. Raymond's question, one of the thought processes was, as this is all the equipment gets installed, what have you, with those crews that are out there, we'll get a couple of the public works, we'll work with the public works director with his crew out there. They can kind of get some feel of what the equipment is, and the people installing it will also have some kind of idea of what the daily maintenance is going to incur when they do that. So hopefully we'll be able to answer a lot of questions out in the field that way.
Okay. Open up to public comment at this time. Chris, if you wanted to come up and ask a question. State your name.
Chris Casey, Atwater, California. The gate has been locked lately at Veterans Park. Would that get enforced? Would that start going to be more enforced, kicking everybody out after 10 o'clock? And then what you guys going to do, like in the fall, like winter time too, but I guess going to shut the water off during when it's cold outside, because having the park during like November to February, that's the coldest month of the year. That's my point of view. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other members of the public like to come forward this time? Looks like we have a couple.
Frank Johnson. Will this park be wheelchair accessible for the children that
Yes.
are in wheelchairs? And on the grid power side, will it be designed to do a switch over to solar to save energy? And last, with the water during the cold season, could it be designed to be turned into an ice skating rink?
I like that idea.
So I think that would cost a little extra, but yes, it is ADA compliant. First and foremost, so the kids that are in wheelchairs and can get out there, and the parents can enjoy that also with them. The water part is like a swimming pool, he said. So even when it's not running, I think it'll have times intermittently throughout the day that it will cycle and keep the water clean. I don't think we're gonna be dumping the water from what I read. It'll maintain that 4,000 gallons, which most swimming pools have 30,000, 25 to 30,000. So it's relatively small, but it's big to put in the ground out there at the park. So it's gonna be pretty small, but it looks big, if that makes any sense. And then as far as the solar, I don't believe that it's designed for a solar switchover, but in the future, everything can be switched over to solar relatively simply by going into the power box correctly? Okay, so when we hit a lot more money in the lottery, we'll put the solar on. Any other members of the public?
Rich Miller, 334 Silva Drive here in Atwater, also pastor Victory Baptist Church, 1280 Sierra Vista Street. First off, Ms. Vieira, I know this has been something you've been wanting, and I know you're excited about it, and I hope it all comes to fruition. I would like to say that I've heard it said that we do have to, there's a timeline, and we're trying to get it done. Personally, I would like to, Brian Raymond represents my area of the city, and I appreciate all the questions he asked. I'd like to ask that we sort of pump the brakes a minute and make sure the questions get answered before we move forward. If the timeline issue is because we want it open for summer, I think we had it answered that it's actually going to be open all year round. So it'd be nice to have it done by maybe May, June, whatever. But if we need to get all the answers first to make sure that we're confident that everything's going to be taken care of, I would feel more confident with that, whether it's waiting till the next city council meeting or whatever to get those answers. With that in mind, I do have 4 questions, and then I'll sit down. The first question that I wanted to ask had to do with, is there going to be an age limit on who can be on the splash pad? Because you might have adults who will want to go out there and they might want to play with their kids, but then at the same time, we want to make sure that we're protecting our kids from pedophiles at the same time. Second question is, with the transient issue, the homeless, how do we guarantee that this is going to be reserved for the kids and that we're not going to have people going in using these showers to shower themselves rather than what it's designed for? Also, if this falls under Parks and Rec, in the last meeting that I wasn't able to attend, I believe that Sandy had said she was working 7 days a week. So how does that now impact Parks and Rec? And I know that they approved a part-time person to come on and help her, but if it does fall under her jurisdiction, how does that, is this going to be one more thing for her? And so just wanted to make sure that we asked this. I had a 4th question, now I forgot it. But I do appreciate all the questions that Brian Raymond's asking because, oh, I know what it was. The fund that you had mentioned, if you could just tell us how much is in that fund. That, you know, if we know how much is in that fund. So those were the 4 questions I had, and I know I only have a certain amount of time and we don't want to dialogue it, but I just wanted to ask.
I think there's close to, it's on the budget. I think it's close to $2 million.
Any other members of the public that come forward at this time? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Bring it back to the council. What's your pleasure?
I know everybody's waiting for me to do this. So. I'd make a motion to, okay, let me see, let me get this right. Motion to make the environmental findings.
Cindy.
Do I need to go?
It's on this page right here. Last page.
Okay.
Nope. Hold on a second. You need, pass this one down to Cindy.
I don't want to have to read more than I have to read.
It's quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, motion to approve staff's recommendation as presented. I think
There you
that's
go.
the easiest way to do it.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Vieira, second by Ambrose.
Viera?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Creighton?
Absolutely. Looking forward to this.
Motion passes.
Item number 8, verbal update regarding Witten Way reconstruction project.
Mayor and City Council, I wanted to give you all an update as well as the public. This last weekend on Saturday, we did a groundbreaking for our Witten Way project. It was great. We had the full council out there as well as Supervisor McDaniel and MCAG representatives. Oh, I missed the picture. So it was a great turnout. It's exciting. The project is underway. The demolition or the project actually started today. They had some driveways that they were starting work on. The project is anticipated to be complete. We've worked and had many meetings with the contractor to ensure that the project would be completed prior to our 4th of July event, as this is the main thoroughfare for our event, and we'd like to have a great new road to have that on. This project is funded through Regional Measure V funds, and that's where the city was allocated not only are, we were anticipating to use regional funding and as well as local Measure V funding, but the project came in under budget, and we were able to use full regional Measure V funding for this. This project encompasses 2 other projects that we're working simultaneously to coordinate. The traffic signalization project, which interconnects, Caltrans spoke this afternoon or this evening regarding the Bell flashing light. This connects the Bell Lane at Applegate Square, Bell Lane at Bell Drive, Applegate Road at Wenton Way, Applegate Road at Sycamore, and Atwater Boulevard at Wenton Way, and then the new light at Olive Avenue that many of you may have seen that's been installed but hasn't been turned on yet. And this also coordinates with traffic signal modification at Wenton Way and Juniper. So we're coordinating these projects simultaneously to have as little impact as possible. We know it's going to impact the public, but this is a positive feature in Atwater, and we don't want to cut up the road once we get these signals in. So we're trying to coordinate the projects as well as can be, and we'll have another item on the next meeting as far as some things that we're working with on Wenton Way at the next meeting for you. Is there any questions?
Council, any questions? Just a verbal update? Okay.
Everybody's excited, and then the complaints will start because it's impacting them, but it's great that we're getting this moving forward.
You know, I'd like to say great job to staff for expediting this. I know that the 4th of July parade is very much anticipated by our community. We have a great event over there, and I'm so glad that we're able to get this done and curb our fears that it wouldn't be done by April 4th. Thank you guys. Great job on the staff.
I too want to say thank you, and thank you, City Council, and especially thank you to the members of the City of Atwater. This is your tax dollars going right back to work. This is the first shovel-ready project in this area for the East Side Measure V money. So we are kicking it off, and we're doing a great project here in Atwater for you guys. You've said what you wanted done, and we're listening, and we're getting projects out there, and so you guys can enjoy them and not have to worry about what's going on in your city and drive on a nice road and not lose the front end of your car. So that's going to be nice. And along with the 4th of July committee, they're super excited. I've talked to a couple of the members this weekend at the FFA dinner. I don't think they realize how beautiful this is going to be when it's done, but it's actually 5 lanes all the way from the post office to Burger King. So that's going to change the whole dynamics of that side of the town. Great job, staff. And I know we've been working on this for several years, and we held off. We could have done a smaller, more haphazardly project just to get something done for you guys. But the staff recommended that we wait, hold our position, try to achieve additional funding so we can get the whole lump to do the complete full reconstruction from one end to the other. There was a patch job that was going to be done. It was not going to be quite as nice as it's turning out to be. So I think this road was put in 1960, 68 or 69, a section of it. So about time we replace it. So thank you guys again for supporting Measure V. This is your money going back to work, and great job, staff. This time I'll open up public comments from the public. Notice to the public.
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record, however, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and or placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Do we have any cards?
We have 2. The first one is Frank Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Chief. Frank Johnson, Modesto, California, president of the NAAAP. I still have a few pending follow-up questions for the city manager. She promised to answer them by email this week, so I'll wait for her answers. I'm still looking into the city's overall financial condition, and especially the looming long-term retirement debt. Other than that, things seem to be going pretty well under the new council. Moral is up, city is open 5 days a week again, and the new police chief seems to be doing a good job overall, and especially bringing in grant money. Of course, Samuel Joseph lost his lawsuit against the city. Judge McCabe wrote an excellent 10-page order chastising Joseph and his attorney. Obviously, you don't have to worry about this corrupt criminal and disgrace to the profession ever coming back here again. As you know, Joseph's corrupt mentor, Frank Pedro, managed to get him hired in Gustine. I speak regularly against Joseph at Gustine City Council meetings. Gustine hiring practices is under investigation by the state, and Joseph will soon be circling the drain over there as well. When I walked in here tonight, the atmosphere was something I've never witnessed here in Atwater. Mayor, good job. It was comfortable. It was rewarding to see a council rewarding those that deserve it so much. And I especially enjoyed the break with the cookies and the water, because that was a diabetic dream come true. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Kelly Phillips.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Kelly Turner Phillips, 2093 Nabella Drive. So I'm coming before you to let you know of a resource that's here in Merced County. We are a nonprofit. My nonprofit is Simple Equation. I provided you a card. You can visit the website for more information for the sake of 3 minutes. We do work with youth in Los Banos under the Viper Grant and under Prop 47. We're at Creekside Junior High Elementary School, and we also have a home, and this is for Merced County. We have a home for homeless young women 18 to 24. It does not cost them anything to live there. It's grant funded. We're a member of the CLC, so it's HEAP funds that are allowing us to provide this opportunity for them. Agencies and community members can refer them. So I've also provided a referral form. So if you know of anyone in need, please, community members again, or agencies can refer people to our home. So that's one thing. The other thing that I wanted to address, we are helping with the census, because we know how important it is to make sure that our county gets the dollars that we need. We are working with the hard to count population. March 11th, a lot of people here in the county will start to receive mail outs. There are different rolling periods for different notifications to go out. Some people will be asked to participate via mail, some will be asked to go online, some will be asked to call. There are different methods that they're using this year. And again, we're working with the hard to count population. So those that will be doing boots to the ground will have on like a sky blue vest. We are not employees of the federal government. We are just partners, but we will have ID and things like that. And so I just wanted to start getting out to the community, that you will see people with the sky blue vest on knocking on doors. And so, I use the ring. I'm a part of that neighbor community thing. And so I can just see notifications, a scammer at the door saying they're part of the census. No, we'll really be out there as part of the census. And I also want to put a really big plug out. please, I know that this is televised, for those that are watching, how important it is to participate in the census. Personally, I have been able to track my third great-grandmother. I always thought we lived, we grew up, our family started in Louisiana. Well, finding her in the 1900 census, I realized that we actually started in Alabama. That helped to give me a sense of identity. So participating in the census is more than just dollars. It helps you, it can help you to identify who you are and to learn more about your roots. But now, right now in 2020, we need the dollars. So community members, I ask you to participate in the census. Thank you.
Any other members of the public that like to come forward at this time?
Hello, my name is Daniel Perez, 2383 Redwood Avenue. I have to warn you that I've been told last night, my wife says if I'm very passionate about something, I sound like I'm angry, and I am not. I noticed the city, there's lots of projects going on, and it's beautiful. I'm very proud of my small town. I work in Modesto, and I tell my boss there that your city's trash because my city's great and it's beautiful. Joking, but also serious. I always joke with him about it. But the last time I brought this up, we had the code enforcement officer come and says, we're doing work, we're cleaning out. The fellow who works in that area off of Sycamore says, hey, it's clean, we're taking care of business. And since then, again, I work in Modesto and I drive over the overpass and I can look out and it's almost quadrupled in size. There's a Winnebago out there, there's a fifth wheel with no truck pulling it. I saw as I'm coming in and they trimmed all the trees, it looked to me like a little girl, 10-year-old girl who was living there too, like jumping over the train tracks, because they had just cleared it out. And it really bothers me, that people are living like that and they shouldn't. And not in my city because it's a beautiful city. So again, not angry, just want to know where we're at. Thank you.
Okay. I'll have the chief get with you on that. He's responsible for the homeless program here. And he gives you all the answers. And if there is minors out there, we need to address that ASAP. Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and move on to number 9. Letter supporting AB 1980, removing the automatic application of a 20% surcharge on all traffic violations. Mayor Pro Tem Raymond.
This is a letter that was given to us from Assemblymember Gray's office for a piece of legislation he's trying to move forward, which one of the things he said is it penalizes a lot the least of us that don't have money, right? And so it's also an unjust tax, so he just wanted us to support it.
Okay, so what you're saying is that there's a $20 surcharge on everybody who gets a speeding ticket or any moving violation?
Yes.
And we're lobbying to remove that.
A letter of support of his legislation, yes.
Okay. I'll open up to members of the public at this time. Any members of the public that come forward on this item, please come forward on the... Sir, are you coming forward? Okay. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the dais. Council? Kale?
So, let me get this straight. This 20% tax goes into the general fund of the state of California.
Correct.
Wow.
Any other members of council? Seeing none, what's your pleasure? Motion to approve and authorize and direct Mayor Pro Tem, Raymond to, what's the support, execute the letter of support on behalf of the city regarding AB 1980 appealing California Penal Code 1465-7, thereby removing the automatic application of a 20% surcharge on all traffic violations.
Second.
Motion by Creighton, second by Raymond.
Oh, I thought it was Kale. I didn't hear. Okay.
No, let Raymond second it.
Raymond,
He's going to
okay.
write it.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Kale?
Definitely yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Sierra?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
City Council comments. Councilman Kale.
First off, I'd like to say I'm so glad that we approved the splash pad, and we're going forward to it. I actually look forward to my granddaughter, who sometimes is in a wheelchair but still doesn't walk very good and has Angelman syndrome. I look forward to seeing her and taking pictures of her out there. And I'm sure when we open that on that day, I'm gonna make sure my my daughter brings her out to that. I also like for everybody here tonight and those at home to please not forget and please pray for the family of the two firefighters from Porterville who died last week. That was a horrible and terrible event, and the night or the morning when I woke up and saw that this had happened, and there was at that point one firefighter had passed away and they were looking for the second. I thought, I don't know how many times I went through Porterville, but that could easily happen in Atwater, and how devastating that would be for our citizens to have to go through that. So please pray for those families, and pray that it never has to be faced by the citizens of Atwater. And that's it.
Thank you. Anne Reese?
Well, I'd like to thank MCAG and also Supervisor Darren McDaniel, as well as the rest of the council here for the Witten Wade project, especially our residents who shop here locally. All like Mayor Creighton said, your guys' tax dollars pretty much at work here. Real excited that that's actually, it started today and will hopefully be finished prior to July 4th. Just also keep in mind, it will delay some of us when we're trying to get to work in the morning, so maybe leave a few minutes early. It does go, I believe, to one lane right now on Witten Wade, right near Olive Avenue, so it'll definitely delay you a little bit. Other than that, thank you guys all for coming and staying. You guys have a good night.
Raymond?
I really don't have much other than I just want to thank you for earlier, continuing the tradition. For those that don't know, the mayor is actually a very kind-hearted person, so thank you.
His secret's out.
Today's the 2-year anniversary of my dad's passing, so continuing the tradition takes me out of town to eat. Go eat barbecue and talk about the old man, so.
Yeah.
Okay, couple things. Thank you to the community for your support and to the council for sticking with me on my vision of the splash pad. I see really good things here. Couple little things I want to go over, and I really want to encourage the citizens that, first of all, thank you for our citizens that show up every council meeting. It's kind of the same 10 or 15 people, but I also want to encourage the people who do watch from home, or okay, 5 or 6 people. She's getting picky over there, okay? She's counting. I know that we do have citizens tune in from home, and then later go to YouTube. If you have questions and you're not able to make it here, one thing that has happened in the city that makes it a little bit easier for a communication field between the citizen and your council is we do have districts. And if you don't know who represents your district, just call the city and ask, and they will let you know. So for instance, if you see something or you hear about something that has happened at a city council meeting, reach out to your council member and ask. I got a text message last week that a gentleman had posted a bunch of stuff on social media. We gave someone a $150,000 raise. And that's just not true, but I can understand as a citizen, if you saw that happening, you would question your council, or you would question what's happening up here. What would be much easier if you allow us to explain to you what is happening, or maybe just something you don't understand. It takes a little bit of time sometime kind of get it or whatever, please reach out to your city council. I am District 2. My number's 209-201-2463. I've said it 100 times. Find out who your liaison, who manages your district. We're here for you. We're your vote. We're your voice. I want to hear if there's something that you simply don't understand, or if there's simply something that you feel like you can't support. If we are to be your voice, we need to hear from you. So please reach out to us. In District 2, that's me, so give me a call. And if you can't reach me, call the mayor. We're here to help. And that is much easier than putting information out there that gets everybody upset. And especially if it's not true information, let's work together. We're really trying positive progress. We have a budget that we're trying very hard to maintain. We have a budget that we've passed that doesn't have a deficit in it. So, instead of pushing around negative information, let's work together and keep moving in a positive motion and be equally proud of each other. And that's really all I have to say, but I just want everyone to know, especially my district, I'm speaking for District 2, please reach out to me. I'm here to listen, and I usually return phone calls or emails that I get. So, and I know the other council members feel the same way. Reach out to us. We're happy to provide the information. I know I went longer than I should have, so that's all.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
Well said.
Well, I mean, I could keep going.
I got to rapid fire this for you guys. The Old Town Atwater Association, Historical Downtown Atwater Association, chicken dinner. If you haven't got your tickets, John Kale is your man. We're raising money for the Old Town Atwater Association to do things like the Christmas wreaths you guys saw at Christmas, other things. They're going to do car shows, barbecues, pasta dinners, maybe a concert or something I heard rumor of. The downtown businesses, in conjunction with Old Town and the Chamber, there's a new life happening down there, so get involved if you're not. You don't have to be a business owner, do you, to be involved? So why don't you tell them real quick about the Old Town?
Well, Old Town Atwater, it used to be the Downtown Atwater Association, so we decided to change its name. So we're trying to raise money to do things like make better lighting downtown, and we're working hard. We have the first amount of money that we made, we decided that we would turn it over, and we're giving away 2 scholarships, one from Buhack High School and one from Atwater High School, and we're giving those away. It starts in April. Their applications come back to us April 1. And then we're just trying to make Atwater a more pleasant place. Once a week, one of our members walks through walks through Old Town Atwater and talks to every business owner, asking them what they want to see and what we could do to do that. They're a highly motivated and highly technically advantaged group that wants to change the city of Atwater. And no, you don't have to be a business owner. You can be a regular citizen.
So I like that idea, to have the public works director walk with that person once a week downtown.
Oh, well.
That's a great idea.
We can get him to do that, maybe a great idea.
That he could see firsthand what the people are talking about, and maybe share some great ideas.
Yes.
Okay. Also, the splash pad, I think one of the public comments was kind of slow down. We have been working on it over a year. So it didn't just fall out of the sky. I think there's some details that staff hasn't got up to council to deal with the budget stuff, but I know the numbers are feasible, and we had that discussion almost a year ago. So those things are being addressed. I want to make sure that it didn't look like we didn't have all those items covered, because it's going to be pretty much like a swimming pool, and whether it's open or closed, it's going to be a digital setup. The engineer left, so staff could program that water park to work or not, operate or not operate, but the recirculating pump and cleaning the water will go on year round. And also, like Councilman Raymond said, we do need to address the gate issue to secure the facility. There is no drowning hazard out there, but there is a asset issue. We have somebody out there right now modifying and fixing up the pavilion on top of what the veterans did. We're putting tons of money back into your community, and we're going to make sure that we don't disappoint you and let it get vandalized and other things, because the police department, public works, are going to make sure it's clean, well lit. I think there's a conversion discussion on switching over to LED lighting in the entire park. Some grants we're going after with that. That's super exciting, and Cindy's been talking about that since the day her and I were running. We went out there and looked at it, along with Brian Raymond and I went out and looked at trees when I was running for council 3 years ago. This council wants a better Atwater, so these are the results of what you guys elected. These things are happening. Witten Way, that's a great project. I know it's going to be a little inconvenient, so please allow a little bit of time on your commute to get through there, or find a different route. The Public Works Department's working with detours if need be, so make sure we keep that posted, Glenn, on the website and Facebook. Highway 99, you guys heard $84 million coming to Atwater with a brand new Highway 99 reconstruction. Safety improvements on the off-ramps over by Tractor Supply, 1,000-foot deceleration ramp, the turning on that signal that's been on there for 15 years. That was a crazy signal. So things are getting done. We hear what you're saying. Some other parks projects are coming. I'm not going to share those tonight, but there's some additional money. Those are impact fees that we collected from new development. So parks in those areas will get some improvements. Staff's currently working on ideas. I think there was a workshop that Janelle and Lori had at Osborne about ideas for Osborne. We were working on a grant. So we're moving forward. And then also something really close to my heart is the Castle Air Museum. We are still in the running for a grant. It's a big grant. It would basically completely change the way Castle Museum is into a destination center, something like the Ronald Reagan Library with that aircraft inside, pavilion. You could hold dinners, you could hold functions. It'll be a world-class event, and I think we're going to get it. We haven't been denied. They just awarded Planada a grant, so maybe this week or early next week we're going to hear. And if that happens, or when that happens, think positively, it's going to change the landscape here in Atwater. So great things happening. Thank you, citizens of Atwater and City Council, for what you guys are doing. Meeting adjourned.